This is the Moondrop Sparks. And I want you to let that name sink in for a second because, ladies and gentlemen, this is how you name a product. Sony, Technics, Panasonic, are you watching this? But anyways, the Sparks is Moondrop's first Bluetooth true wireless device after the successes of their wired IEMs. That's what they're good at, or in-ear monitors. And even those have awesome product names, like get this, the Moondrop Aria, or the Shakan, or the Solis, or the Starfield. Heck yeah, man, I'll buy this just on the name alone. Well, actually, you should never do that. Yeah, just don't trust everything I say. And thankfully, this isn't just all about the name here, because remember the part where I mentioned IEM? That means TLDR, this thing sounds fantastic, and it also costs under $100, and it looks good to boot. So surely there's a catch somewhere, right? Well, if you're curious, let's find out after these messages. That way. Well, on the bench here, ladies and gentlemen, we have the Moondrop Sparks, or as they call it in Mandarin, the Shui Sparks. That's your logo right there. This thing retails for $90 and comes in 3 different colors, the black one, this one, or purple or pink. And regardless of what color you choose, they all have uniquely different anime or manga inspired print on each of them. Each one's unique, and they're all mostly centered around the touch control surfaces, and they're different between the left and the right too, as well as on the packaging. And by the way, if you're familiar with the Moondrop brand, I think they launched sometime in 2014 or something like that, and you know that they're IEM makers or in-ear monitor audio makers. This Spark is not it. It's more of a beginner audiophile earbud, so let's get that out of the way first. But anyways, let's get back to the specs. This thing has Bluetooth 5.2 on board, which is really nice to see, with AAC, SBC, aptX, and aptX adaptive support. But oddly, there is no mention of LC3 or iSOC support, which is what you'll find on Bluetooth 5.2 anyway, especially this is a Qualcomm chip. So maybe they'll install the profile in a future firmware update. Now, straight from the factory, this is rated for battery life at 8 hours for the earbuds. But during my time of testing, I got it about 7.3 hours at 65% volume, which is still pretty darn strong. So if you do the math, the case also adds about 36.5 hours on top of that. And for the times when you do accidentally leave your buds sitting outside the case, like right here, you know, powered on but not connected to device, no media playing, the Sparks also include auto power off after a specific amount of time. So that saves you battery and a bunch of headache for later on if you do leave them running. Now, I want to talk about the case real quick. Because of the large battery cell here, yeah, as you can see, this thing is huge and bulky. It's not gonna win any beauty contest or anything like in terms of size. It's similar to the WF-1000XM3, same kind of profile. But I'll tell you what, I'll give props to Moondrop because the build quality on this, man, I have no fault. The manufacturing lines are nice and tight, no creaks at all. The material choices, exemplary too. And the polycarbonate here is high friction as well, but not the thick kind that turns gummy after a few years, I don't think. But it's really frictiony. It looks more expensive than the price suggests, really. And I love the contrast of the gold and the black here. Look at that top here, the Moondrop. Yeah, it's driving the camera nuts, but it's really striking. I really like this. And you probably noticed this as I spun this case around or anything, but I'll mention it here. If you're a fan of the see-through or exposed innards kind of deal, this is your kind of thing, because look at that, that's the battery level. Even the earbuds are translucent. We'll look at that more in a second. And back here we had the NFC pairing circuit board right there, exposed or see-through, USB-C charging port, even the hinge spring assembly, you can see it right there. And when you pop the lid open, the magnets, look at that, all behind windows, and there's one partially exposed right here. How cool is that? And in here we also have the charging pins as well as some kind of decorative embellishment way at the bottom there with a little bit of a dimple or a dip, and I think it's gonna collect dirt and gunk really easily and it'll be really hard to keep clean. That being said, the cavity is nice and wide, so if you stick a Q-tip in there to clean it from time to time, that'd be pretty cool. Yeah, the friction surface is all around on the lid too, because usually other manufacturers would just shut off and cheap out right here, but not Moondrop, so kudos guys. One thing I want you to hear is this. Check out the lid. You hear that? It locks in place. I'm so happy to this. Yeah, for this, you can flop this around. It doesn't do anything. And by the way, since we're here, let's do the magnet shake test. I'm gonna pop the other earbud back in and let's, oh yeah, that's a fail. This thing is a fail for the magnets, but a pass or huge pass for the lid itself. Check out these earbuds, guys, and tell me this is not one of the most unique ones you've seen so far, with the whole translucent body and the same frictiony surface, just like the case. It's really well made, but you know, if this flashing light is probably going to drive the person sitting next to you crazy, I'll tell you what. Touch controls are all over right here, at the top here, nice and flush. So if this is sitting in your ear, this kind of hides, this flat profile kind of hides the protrusion pretty darn well. But the touch controls, they accept double, triple, as well as hold. No single, so there's no accidental touches if you're adjusting it, for example. Now, in the business end of things, there's a 6mm driver in here with beryllium coated dome. 2 mics per side, one at the bottom here. Let me see if I can find it right there, and another one right by the ear tip. Let me see if I can find it. It's really hard to find it in the dark. Right there at the bottom. And by the way, as you can see, this is one of the foam tips. Moondrop is really generous with the foam ear tips that they include. They have 9 pairs of silicone ear tips comprised of 2 styles and also 3 sizes each. And they also included a decent pair of foam ear tips. You can always replace them, you know, to get shiny and oily and dirty really easily. Now, if I pop these off, you can see how long the sound channel is, and it's also covered by a mesh grill to protect from debris. Charging pins are right there. Yeah, it's really basic in terms of what it's on here. No sensors or anything like that. So that's cool. Putting these back on can be a little bit of a challenge. You just have to figure it out regardless of the silicone tip, but the foam tips are the easiest, as you can see right there. And by the way, if you're shopping for these, it's worth noting that these things don't have Qi charging, active noise cancellation, pass-through mode, multi-point, wear detection, water resistance of any kind, or any kind of decent app control, at least at this point in time. Or also any kind of left-right indicators for the earbuds. Believe it or not, this is the first time I've seen it. They probably expect you to like look at these designs and, you know, tell which is left and right, but I prefer something more tactile. Yeah, I have some Dua Lipa singing some sweet tunes in my ears right now, some levitating. And I have her playing in high fidelity on Deezer on my phone. And I'm gonna put the phone at the end of my deck because it is time for the Bluetooth range test. And this is when we find out when the Sparks start getting disconnection issues the further I walk away from the source, which is the phone. So these things have Bluetooth 5.2 that should last, according to the advertisement, 30 to 33 feet with a more solid connection, stable connection. We'll see if that works. And by the way, that's the latest addition to my home, my own private pool. Yes, that's like a masterclass in poshness, ain't it? Anyways, the phone is over there, by the way, and where I'm staying, I'm already getting disconnection issues. What's up with that? I'm at 25 feet roughly, and this doesn't bode well, guys. Yeah, I'm gonna keep walking until we get here to this point where most of my earbuds start to get connection issues. But here at this point, the Sparks have already given up the ghost. I don't hear anything. So I'm not sure what kind of profile they use with, as we mentioned earlier, Bluetooth 5.2, but what profile they set this up with. Yeah, this is not good at all. I'm gonna keep walking, by the way, until we get a complete disconnect tone, just for fun, just for kicks. How you guys doing? I just got to disconnect, and you can see the fit of these in my ears. They protrude around 2.5 to 3 millimeters outside of my earlobe. So, you know, for those of you who don't like a bulky look, you might want to look somewhere else. But honestly, they're fine. I personally don't like bulky earbuds myself, but because they're flat on the side and not too bulbous, they kind of hide the look altogether pretty good, especially in this color, this black. It's a nice day out, the sun is out, and I just got a connection tone from a British lady's voice. Connected. Media doesn't continue, just like normal. You double tap it to play again, and it's fine. But the range is an issue for me because sound quality, in this case, it's great. But if the range sucks, if you're walking between rooms 25 feet or less, I'm not too confident about this one. Maybe a firmware update can rectify this. So Moondrop, maybe you have something to say about this. Comment down below. All right, we're heading down to the road right now to get some sound samples for these Sparks to see how well they do with noise suppression in a noisy environment, as well as you can hear my general voice quality. Now, this is not scientific by any means, but it'll give you a general idea of how these sound like, especially when you compare it with my other videos that I made comparing other earbuds. So as traffic passes by, you can hear that these things just don't do well. I'll give it a thumbs down. Yeah, they're very harsh and just grating. The moment you introduce any kind of consistent sound, it's gonna, go south. So if you use this on the roadside, if you're walking your dog, running or anything, and you get a phone call,
just hang up or don't answer. You will save your listeners' ears a lot and yeah, save embarrassment. In a quiet environment, it's fine, but even a fan can throw this off guard really easily. So I'm not even sure why they included these mics. I know, I just don't know. But anyways, it's there. But Moondrop, you have some work to do if you want to really compete in this game. So back to the drawing board.
So here are my favorite features of the Moondrop Sparks. And number one, I'm glad it made it here, is the sound quality. Yeah, it would have sucked if it didn't do too hot here. But if you're a bass head and if you like preset sound profiles straight from the manufacturer, you know, entrusting them to do their own interpretation of the stereo imaging and the soundstage and such like that and adding their own effects, then the Sparks is not for you, because just like any IEM or audiophile audio equipment, it's all about the neutral listening experience. So if you want the cleanest, purest, rawest sound straight from the source to your ear, or if you want something like similar to how it was sounding in the studio, then these are it. Now, if I look through the lens of an IEM or an audiophile equipment, the Sparks kind of lacks in the bass department, so you could use some tuning there. So I hope Moondrop, please open up the app so that we can tweak that. But that being said, this is really nice and clean sound for $90. That's pretty darn amazing. And I think it's thanks to Moondrop's tuning and as well also the Bluetooth 5.2 with their Kalimda DSP. Now, when I do listen to a test song like Radiohead's High and Dry, the beginning part where there's that drum solo, man, I can hear every single hi-hat and the rim click. Woo, it's so good, guys. So this is one of the strengths of these Sparks, man. And some of the other pluses are like battery life. 37 plus hours from the case and the earbuds together. That's pretty darn beast mode, guys. And the looks. I don't know about you, but I love how these things look. The industrial design, the material choices, just how it feels in my hand, the nice friction surface, and the whole see-through thing going on with the case and the earbuds. I just love it. It's very unique in this very glutted market, to be honest. I know these things flash like crazy in the dark because of their translucent nature. So if you're married, be prepared to visit the doghouse every time you use these. But otherwise, yeah, I just love the design on these things. Alright, let's hit up the negatives. And the first one of all is that the sound quality is very contingent on the fit. And what I mean by this is that these earbuds work the best when they're inserted all the way into your ear as deep as you can go, and then they sound like 100% mwah. But if it's not, if it's a little bit outside, if you have an anatomy or if your ear canal tends to push things out, or if you're yawning for crying out loud, or if you're like, you know, moving to the music and the things shift around, it's gonna change the sound profile. So that's really part of the territory of IEMs and such. So, you know, if you're coming to this, you probably have to expect that. But for most of us, I personally don't appreciate it because it's a lot of a readjusting. Yeah, you just have to pretty much sit still in your chair and listen to music. That's just weird, isn't it? So as many of you viewers of this channel already know, or 9 of you guys, you know that I don't like touch controls, especially on earbuds, because in the case of the Sparks, you're asking for double and triple taps, so this is being jammed deeper into your ear every single time you're using it. And it works only maybe 3 out of 5 times, so I guess it's pretty much par for course for this kind of tech. But the problem is this kind of IEM-like long shaft. You're talking, look at this, it looks like a monkey penis for crying out loud with this long stiff shaft, and we're just talking about deep penetration every time I use it. So Moondrop, if you're listening to this, listen to this guy who's being violated every single time I use it. We need buttons for crying out loud. But overall though, in terms of negatives, I find that this device is really weak on features, even the basic ones, and it's left me wanting. For example, this has Bluetooth 5.2 from Qualcomm, and it's supposed to have CVC 8.0, noise suppression for phone calls. But as you heard from the samples earlier, if you haven't watched it, you should go check it out. The other thing that Qualcomm has for this is the Google Fast Pair, but I haven't seen it. What about the app? Oh my goodness, this thing is just like a placeholder for firmware updates that don't even happen or don't really work, and so it's like a work in progress. So come on, it's all very simple fixes. You know, just have to push out a proper update for the software, and then you can fix these with firmware updates. So Moondrop, if you're listening, get it done. Man, why oh why has the Sparks become such a letdown for me? Because if you look at this from a true wireless Bluetooth device point of view, it's seriously missing a lot of features like pass-through mode or water resistance, and also like underperforms in basic functions like phone calls, as we saw earlier or heard earlier. But then again, if you look at this from the flip side, from a strictly audiophile IEM-like device, $90 is a great value starter, I'll tell you what, because once you start getting into the scene, it's easy to spend, and you guys, fans of IEMs, know you can easily spend hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. So $90, It's like spare chum change. It's a great value for that. So I suggest you having 2 pairs, one for listening. These ones, just if you want a good reference earbud, these are pretty darn good. And then have another one for working out or something like that. So that's my advice. The links are down below if you want to check it out. So with all that said, I want to give the Moondrop Sparks a gear up score of 7.8 out of 10. Most of it is really in the sound department, and this is how I broke it down to get a final score. If you have any questions about it, feel free to comment down below. Well, there you have it, guys. Thank you so much for watching this Moondrop video, and I hope you enjoyed watching it as much as I enjoyed making it. Please come back next week for more, and if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to this channel. If you'd like to see more videos like this, mash and kill the button down below. Just smack it like it's been naughty and turn on the bell notification icon. And also visit my Patreon page down here if you'd like to support me financially. By the way, Barbecue Jones, one of my earliest supporters, he bumped up his support recently, so he gets a color text right there just for this week anyway. And also remember to thumbs up if you like this video and comment nicely down below. That's super important stuff. And thumbs down. Thumbs down if you like to catch your flies with a chopstick. Yes, like Pat Morita did. And you end up not eating the flies. Like, what's up with that? Because if you're going all Asian like this, you shouldn't be wasting the flies even. Because they're tasty. If you know, fry them or pickle them or bake them or whatever. They're crispy and delicious. And they're high in protein and E. coli. Anyways, yeah, there you have it. Remember to be nice and kind and loving to somebody this week, guys. And I hope to see you next week. Please be good, and I love you very much. Until next time, peace out.